human growth hormone. I hopped on that.
So you're a big HGH fan.
Oh, I got the #1 prescription in the world.
Do you
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.moredates.com. Today we're going to be talking about VITALY'S steroid cycle that he detailed on the No Jumper podcast.
Fucking yeah, the Cialis has been crazy good.
Really? You're on that shit?
Yeah, this year.
God,
well, it's Cialis. It's good for pump. Look at these veins. I took it this morning.
I heard testosterone's good for that too. Those are some
Testosterone
serious
is amazing. FDA approved. No bad top shit. My blood works 100 out of 100. I go every month. Human growth hormone. I hopped on that.
So you're a big HGH fan.
Oh, I got the #1 prescription in the world.
Do you have that little like fucking shooter thing?
I've seen that. I don't even need to suck it out. It's a pen. I twist it.
Yeah, it's like a twist pen thing. Yeah.
I feel great.
Okay, so VITALY outlines how it's not really a steroid cycle. Obviously, it's more like a hormone replacement therapy protocol. Now, a lot of these anti-aging clinics in the US have sort of loopholed the system into allowing them to prescribe guys essentially mini cycles. So what VITALY is on is likely more indicative of a supraphysiological blast in some context. It's just with bioidentical hormones, so it can be prescribed legally through a clinic. However, a lot of these clinics now are actually branching out into prescribing things like secretagogues, nandrolone, all these other things that are, less traditional and could be kind of construed as bioidentical in some context. But, the traditional sort of stack is testosterone and human growth hormone as far as what people perceive deplete as you age and need to be quote unquote replaced. However, these clinics often will prescribe dosages as high as 300 milligrams of test per week when the average healthy male produces naturally 3 to 10 milligrams of testosterone per day. So obviously that's non-esterified testosterone. It's just pure hormone. So when you actually cleave the ester off, how much actual testosterone you have available to tissues is going to differ. However, I think it's kind of interesting that Dan Bilzerian also has a very similar protocol, which I've outlined in the past in my video, Dan Bilzerian Steroid Cycle Revealed, where he actually posted on Instagram exactly what he takes. And that broke down to 100 milligrams of testosterone every 5 days, which is 140 milligrams per week, 1 IU of HGH per day, and Cialis. So Dan is probably more so at a maintenance stage of his life. He's not trying to accrue a significant amount of muscle mass. He's not trying to exacerbate his potential risk of inducing another heart attack. So his use is likely going to be a bit more toned down than VITALY'S would, who's evidently just, getting into this now and has only been doing it for a couple of years and is trying to blow up as much as possible, or at least, build a great physique and then maintain it year round with relative ease. But the fact that they're on the exact same protocol and they're close friends, or at least they definitely hang out pretty often, is I believe it's more likely than not that they're seeing the same anti-aging clinic or doctor at the wherever they're going, endocrinologist, whatever it is. More than likely an anti-aging clinic though, where they're getting this prescription. And VITALY, it could range anywhere from likely what Dan is using, 140 per week, upwards of potentially 300 milligrams per week. And based on VITALY'S before and afters over the past year or two, I would say it's more than likely that he's, using 200 to 300 milligrams of testosterone per week. Probably has 1 IU of HGH being prescribed. It's very unlikely that a doctor is going to prescribe 2 or more units of HGH because it's a bit more of a concern in terms of the leniency of prescriptions for human growth hormone. Trying to prescribe a 27-year-old or however old VITALY is, trying to prescribe human growth hormone to somebody in that age bracket, I imagine is a bit more difficult than prescribing testosterone. And then on top of that, Cialis, that is often used not just for its benefits in the bedroom as a ED medication, but it also acts as a potent vasodilator by inhibiting PDE5, and it allows for not just better circulation and blood flow to your Johnson, but it actually helps a lot as sort of like a performance aid in the gym. It helps get a better pump in the gym. As he mentioned, his veins are popping out more, not just down there, but everywhere. It vasodilates the entire body essentially. essentially. So, and due to this vasodilation, it also acts as a means for people to control their blood pressure. And some bodybuilders will use a small dose of Cialis on a daily basis to knock down their systolic and diastolic, like, you know, upwards of 5 to 10 to 15 points pretty easily. And they, you know, will continue that for years on end. I'm sure Dan has probably outlined the cardioprotective potential performance enhancing benefits of it and the potential benefit it could have in the gym as well. And it's just interesting how their protocol seems to be very, very similar to one another. And looking at VITALY'S progress in early 2018, you can see he had, you know, a very unfit, skinny, fat physique. And then after hopping on gear, he definitely made a big change in his physique. What he specifically for that transformation, potentially it might have involved the anavar that he outlined in the No Jumper podcast that he's messed with in the past and whatnot. But the majority of his progress is attributed to the long-term testosterone use. He's been on it since almost 2 years now, or at least a couple of years, as well as human growth hormone for a year straight. The Cialis is going to contribute much less to the overall body composition changes, but it's still notable nonetheless. And you can hate on the guy all you want. He definitely has, you know, transformed his physique and seems to be living a pretty flexible lifestyle while still maintaining a high level of commitment and dedication in the gym. Like, he's traveling all over the place and still maintaining this physique. A lot of guys on TRT aren't able to do that, and they look like shit when they travel. They eat like crap and they don't train, and they just like let their physique go to shit. And here he is. He maintains good size, and just objectively looking at his physique, he actually has, you know, pretty good muscle inserts. He has great body composition. He looks big and lean simultaneously, which is a lot more than most guys on TRT can say. Like, most guys on TRT, frankly, they don't really take advantage of the exogenous hormone support and either have, maybe it could be subpar genetic response, but a lot of guys on gear just don't look like they're on gear, and that's even on super physiological amounts far higher than what Vitaly would be using if he has a prescription. The likelihood that he's using more than a few hundred milligrams per week is low. The fact that he's traveling all the time also kind of reinforces the fact that he's probably actually sticking to his prescription and not stacking a bunch of things on top of it that you wouldn't be able to travel with very easily. So he is probably using at most 300 milligrams of test per week with 1 unit of HGH with maybe, you know, 5 milligrams of Cialis per day or something like that. And his physique is good. Like, honestly, it's nothing to scoff at. Some people are going to say, oh, if you're on steroids, you should be way bigger. But this is like what you would call bodybuilder TRT is what I've referred to it in the past. It's more just like a mini cycle. His blood work probably indicates he's, I would imagine, outside of the therapeutic reference range, but not that far off, to be honest. Like, he is within striking distance of what you could claim is a replacement amount, and he maintains what, you know, many would definitely classify as a above naturally attainable physique. And I would say it's actually pretty impressive, to be honest. A lot of people are gonna hate on this guy because he's a bit of a controversial figure, but just based on his progression over the past 2 years, you can't just attribute it all to steroids. Like, obviously they are what put your body in the environment conducive to muscle growth in order to put that tissue on, but you still have to put the work in and eat the food accordingly to actually make use of those hormones and put that muscle on and burn that fat and get the body composition that the hormones allow you to achieve. So you can't take away from his hard work. It's an impressive transformation, and a lot of you guys have asked me to cover it, so I just kind of want to delve into the pharmacology a bit and my sort of stance on his physique in general. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, especially if you enjoy deep dives into bodybuilding pharmacology and more detailed descriptions of things that are probably not going to be covered on most YouTube channels discussing fitness and bodybuilding in general. Please drop a like. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, at moreplates_more_dates on Instagram, my blog, moreplates_more_dates.com. And if you are interested in learning about more of the intricacies of bodybuilding pharmacology and getting kind of insight into where I derive my data from specifically, I highly advise you subscribe to the newsletter. The first link in the description below. Anytime I post a more in-depth and comprehensive article on something I feel would be best summarized in a professionally formatted article with the citations that you can delve into further yourself for your own personal research, I always email those out to people on the subscription newsletter. So a lot of incentive to sign up for that, because those studies I just do not detail in these videos, and I only get into the nitty gritty in the article. So more incentive to sign up for that. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.